Mistweaver monks weave the essences of life known as chi to heal themselves and their allies. I'm going to show you everything you need to know today to succeed in Season 1 of The War Within. This is going to be very beginner friendly while also being friendly enough for veterans that you're going to get everything you need to hit the ground running. We're going to start off with the stats and stat priority. Intellect being your main stat. And you are going to want to get a higher and higher item level to get more intellect and better secondary stats. If you are comparing secondary stats, this here is the general priority. However, I would only recommend actually comparing these if you are looking at items of the same eye level, where a higher eye level is generally always going to be better. So looking at our secondary stats, haste is actually going to increase our attack speed, our spell casting speed, and our mana regeneration, etc. We have critical strike, of course, meaning we've got a chance to do more healing. Versatility increases damage and healing done, while also simultaneously reducing damage taken, which is fantastic, of course. Gusts of Wind is our mastery. Renewing Mist, blah, blah, blah. So basically loads of our healing spells, okay? Are going to cause a gust of healing mists, instantly healing the primary target for a lot of healing. And Gusts of Mists has a 30% chance to do even more healing sometimes. So basically, the more mastery we have, the more healing we do. Looking quickly, before we move on, at the set bonus we're getting this season, it's called Gatecrasher's Fortitude. The 2 set, where Enveloping Mist and Renewing Mist, healing is increased on those 2 abilities. And our 4 set, Vivify, another healing ability we have, extends the duration of Renewing Mist and Enveloping Mist on its primary target up to 3 seconds. So these 2 abilities are actually going to be on our target for a while, and this is going to extend the duration that those healing spells are actually affecting our allies. So now looking at the cooldowns and some of the utilities that we have at our disposal. These are the most important ones I think you need to be aware of. Now, on the left here, we've got things we're doing to our enemy, and on the right, we've got things that we're doing to enhance us and our allies. These can be used on every spec, by the way. They're all from the Monk class tree, meaning it's the same no matter what class you're in. So let's get started. First, we've got Paralysis. Incapacitates a target for a minute. You can only do this to one target at a time, so they are paralyzed. Oh dear. The next one we have is Disable. Reducing the target's movement speed by 50%, so halving their movement speed for 15 seconds. And the duration of that is actually going to be refreshed whenever you do melee attacks, which is really awesome. And then lastly, on the left side, we've got Leg Sweep, knocking down all enemies within 10 yards and also stunning them as well. So some really great utilities that we've got there. On the right-hand side, we've got Diffuse Magic, reduces magic damage you take by 60% and transfers all currently active harmful magic effects on you back to the original caster, if possible. Then we have Fortifying Brew on a 2-minute cooldown, turns your skin to stone for 15 seconds, increasing your current and maximum health by 20%, and also reducing how much damage you take at the same time. Lastly, we have Ring of Peace. Form a ring of peace at the target location for 5 seconds. Enemies that enter that ring will be ejected from it. So it's a safe place for you and your allies. And that pretty much is the main utilities that I want to show you for Monk in this video. Again, do always look through your class talent tree, maybe when you're more familiar with the spec. Look through your spellbook and just see what else we have available. There's always other things that we can do, but these are the main and most important ones that I want you to be aware of for Season 1. Now to move on to the really fun stuff, which is actually how it's all going to come together, and we're going to use it in, first up, a raiding environment for more, I only said single target then, but that's damage, thinking of Windwalker, in a raiding environment for healing obviously lots of people, and then going into a more small Mythic Plus kind of rotation and priority list. We are going with Conduit of the Celestials for both of these builds, which, let me tell you, is one of my favourite hero talents. I'm so glad that Conduit of the Celestials is the better hero talent choice for Mistweavers, because it is so cool, and we're going to be going over that in a lot of detail shortly. So the first thing we actually want to do, so I'm going to do this kind of like a what, when, why. What spells are we using? When are we using them? Why are we using them? First things we actually want to do as a priority is deal damage, which I know sounds really counterintuitive as a healer. But you'll notice when I used my Rising Sun Kick on the enemy, can you see there's this buff here? Mystic Touch. Physical damage taken increased by 5%. So we can actually add that by doing damage to our enemies so they take more damage from everyone. So that's just our number one priority there. The other priority we have is Renewing Mist. You can see here we've got 3 charges of it. Surrounds the target with healing mists, restoring health over 20 seconds. If Renewing Mist heals a target past their maximum health, it'll travel to another injured ally. And we never want to max out our stacks because that is basically just wasting it. And it does, as you can see, recharge very fast. The next one on our priority list is going to be Rising Sun Kick. Kick upwards, dealing damage, and it applies Renewing Mist for 6 seconds to an ally within 40 yards. So it's also going to apply another stack of Renewing Mist to a nearby target. Now, it's also going to do a few other things. There's this talent here, Rising Mist. Rising Sun Kick heals all allies with your Renewing Mist and Enveloping Mist for an extra amount and extends those effects by 4 seconds, up to 100% of their original duration. So basically, if people have Renewing and Enveloping Mist on them, let's say I use it on myself here. You can see I've got Renewing Mist for 16, 15, and then suddenly it's up to 20 seconds because I've used Rising Sun Kick. It's extending the duration of your healing spells on your targets that already have them. There's also this talent here, Pools of Mists. Renewing Mist now has 3 charges, as we already know, and reduces the remaining cooldown on Rising Sun Kick for a second. Rising Sun Kick now also reduces the remaining cooldown on Renewing Mists. So these two work really well in tandem with each other. And then lastly, there's yet another talent that is affected by Rising Sun Kick. And I'm saying this like it's a bad thing. It's actually a really good thing. Rising Sun Kick now kicks up a gust of mist to heal 2 allies within 40 yards as well. Spinning Crane Kick and Blackout Kick have a chance to kick up a gust of wind to heal an ally within 40 yards for the same amount also. So basically, when you are doing a lot of damage, especially with Rising Sun Kick, it's going to be doing a lot of healing. And you can see on the tooltip there that it does say applies Renewing Mist for 6 seconds to an ally as well. It does actually let you know that. After that, I've left this slot blank because I would pretty much use your cooldowns. So these are these 3. Oh, I've clicked it. God forbid. So basically, at this point, use your cooldowns depending on the situation. We've got Invoke Yulon, the Jade Serpent, on a 3-minute cooldown. Summons an effigy of Yulon, the Jade Serpent, for 25 seconds. He will heal injured allies with Soothing Breath, healing them and up to 2 nearby allies for 4 seconds. And Enveloping Mist costs 50% less mana while he is active. And this is that spell here, Enveloping Mist, which is why we want to use Yulon before we're using Enveloping Mist. Revival, healing all party and raid members within 40 yards and clears them of harmful effects, poison and disease. And then lastly, Celestial Conduit. The August Celestials empower you, causing you to radiate healing onto nearby injured allies and damage also onto enemies for 3.6 seconds, split evenly among them. Healing and damage is increased by 6% per target up to 30%. You may move while channeling it, but casting other healing spells will cancel the effect. So these are your 3 cooldowns we can use here. Then we have a Thunder Focus Tea. It's on a 30-second cooldown, and we're going to use it on Renewing Mist. The duration is increased by 10 seconds. Receive a jolt of energy, empowering an next spell. So if I use Thunder Focus, I can then use Renewing Mist to get the benefit of that Thunder Focus Tea. And the specific reason we're going to use it, our Thunder Focus Tea, on Renewing Mist is these 2 talents here, Zen Pulse and Deep Clarity. Renewing Mist's heal over time has a chance to cause your next Vivify to also trigger a Zen Pulse on its target and all allies with Renewing Mist on them for X amount by 6%, per Renewing Mist up to 30%. After you fully consume Thunder Focus Tea, your next Vivify triggers Zen Pulse. So these kind of all work in tandem really nicely together, and then with Vivify here as well. And by the way, I think you just missed it. One of the Celestials was summoned. We're going to see that more with the hero talents. It summons all the Celestials. It's really cool. So I just got a bit excited then. If a player is at low health, you can use Vivify, causing a surge of invigorating mists, healing the target for 409,000 and all allies with your Renewing Mist active, reduced beyond 5 targets. If you can't tell already, using Renewing Mist on lots of different people is really, really useful because a lot of our other spells will be healing people that have our Renewing Mists on them. And we're going to be extending it, remember, with Rising Sun Kick. Then we have Mana Tea. It's channeled, consumes a stack of Mana Tea per 0.5 seconds to restore mana and reduces the mana cost of your spells per stack of Mana Tea consumed. Can be cast while moving, but movement speed is reduced while you use it. Then we have Expel Harm. This can only be used on yourself. Expel negative chi from your body, healing everyone and dealing 25% the amount healed as nature damage to enemies within 20 yards. And then we have Shaylan's Gift, draws in all nearby clouds of mist, which you can see here. There's clouds of mist hanging around, healing the friendly target and up to 2 allies per cloud absorbed. So if you're seeing these clouds, that's kind of what we're using these for. A cloud of mist is generated every 8 seconds while in combat. So we want to make sure we're using Shaylan's Gift to use that effect at a pretty low priority on our list here. After that, we're going to be using Chi Burst on a 30-second cooldown. It basically hurls a torrent of Chi forward, healing and doing damage to everyone in its path. Just use that on cooldown, really. And lastly, using Tiger Palm to damage our enemies. We have got something here called Courage of the White Tiger. We're going to be using Tiger Palm to try and activate it. Tiger Palm has a chance to cause Zwen to claw a nearby enemy for damage and healing a nearby ally for 200% of the damage done. So again, doing damage will equal healing here. And that is that's a fairly kind of simple overview of how we're going to be healing in a raid environment. Getting out those Renewing Mists, doing damage and extending and doing more healing with Rising Sun Kick, using your Thunder Focus Tea on your Renewing Mist, using your Vivify, especially if we need to get healing done on people that need a lot of healing, using our Enveloping Mist, Mana Tea here, drinking that, Expel Harm on yourself, absorbing the 10 stacks when they're there of the clouds for Shaylan's Gift, shoving out a Chi Burst, and using Tiger Palm. And of course, using our cooldowns as quite a high priority. Now, if we go into the Mythic Plus build, we're going to see what we're actually changing. And again, we are staying in the Conduit of the Celestials hero talents here. Now, if we move over into the Mythic Plus build, you can see a fair few of the talents are changing, but don't let that put you off. We're actually basing a lot of it around this spell here, Jade Fire Stomp. Strike the ground fiercely to expose a path of Jade, dealing nature damage up to 5 nearby enemies and restoring health to up to 5 allies caught in the path. Your abilities do have a chance to reset the cooldown of Jade Fire Stomp while fighting within the path as well. So it's sort of a simpler but also different rotation. First up, again, I've left this slot empty, as I would say to use your big cooldowns as a priority. Shaylan's Gift, as we discussed before, but also invoke Shiji the Red Crane. Summon an effigy of Shiji for 12 seconds that kicks up a gust of mist when you Blackout Kick, Rising Sun Kick, or Spinning Crane Kick, healing allies and reducing the cost and cast time of your next Enveloping Mist by 33% that will stack. Shiji's presence makes you immune to movement impairing effects. It does all these beautiful effects here. Celestial Conduit, we've explained, Revival, and what I didn't explain before, which I should have done, was actually Life Cocoon, encasing a target in a cocoon of Shi energy, absorbing massive damage and increasing all healing over time received by that target by 50%. And it will also apply Renewing and Enveloping Mist to that target. And then we're going to be using Jade Fire Stomp, which is really, really beautiful. Do make sure that you are standing in it for these two effects up here. Awakened Jade Fire. Tiger Palm strikes twice. Spinning Crane kicks 3 nearby allies for 90% of its damage done, and the abilities reset Jade Fire Stomp 100% more often. And Ancient Coordinates. Blackout Kick strikes 3 targets and has an additional chance to reset the cooldown of Rising Sun Kick. You can see now, if I come out of my Jade Fire Stomp, these start falling off. Again, use Renewing Mist and never let it go stacking out at full stacks. You want to be using this pretty much on cooldown. Same with your Rising Sun Kick, as we discussed previously. And make sure you use your Thunder Focus Tea frequently as well. It's only on a 30-second cooldown, and we do want to be empowering those spells with it. If your damaging abilities cannot cover the healing incoming, Vivify is the main spell that I would recommend to use on them. If you need to heal a high amount of damage, again, causing a surge of invigorating mists and healing the target and all allies with your renewing mist active again, just like in Raid. Then here, we're going to be using our damaging abilities in this slot, so all 3 of them here. Again, using Awakened Jadefire. To remind you, your abilities reset Jadefire Stomp more often, and while within Jadefire Stomp, your Tiger Palm strikes twice. Spinning Crane Kick heals nearby allies for 90% of the damage done. So we're going to use our Jadefire Stomp, and then here be using our Spinning Crane Kick, Tiger Palm, and Blackout Kick to do healing in there. Another thing we have is Ancient Teachings here. After casting Jadefire Stomp, your Tiger Palm, Blackout Kick, and Rising Sun Kick heal up to 5 injured allies within 40 yards for a lot of the damage done, split evenly among them. While Ancient Teachings is active, your stamina is also increased. There's also that one there, and you can start to see how all of our damaging abilities revolve around Jadefire Stomp in the Mythic Plus build. If you need to move around, you can use Chi Burst, like we did before, as a lower priority as well, just to blast that through enemies and allies alike. And that is pretty much the core way that we're going to be healing as a Mistweaver monk in the War Within. Now let's have a look at the Conduit of the Celestials hero talents. In this build, we are going with the Conduit of the Celestials hero talents. Now, apart from Celestial Conduit, which is a 1.5 minute cooldown, we're not actually getting anything else that's going to be active. It's all going to be quite passive effects. And I do want to go through these in a bit more detail, as hero talents are the new exciting thing that we're getting in the War Within expansion. So, of course, Celestial Conduit, again, the August Celestials empower you, causing you to radiate healing onto up to 5 injured allies, and doing nature damage onto enemies within 20 yards over 3.6 seconds, and it's going to be split evenly among them. Healing and damage is increased by 6% per target, up to 30%. You may move while channeling, but casting other healing or damaging spells will cancel it. So you can move around, but you can't cast anything else. So, we've then got on the left our first choice node. Temple Training, the healing of Enveloping Mist and Vivify is increased, or Teachings of the Monastery has a 15% chance to refund a charge when consumed. Obviously, we're going for Temple Training here. Heart of the Jade Serpent, consuming 10 stacks of Shaylan's Gift, calls upon Yulon to decrease the cooldown of Renewing Mist and some of your other abilities by 75%. Then we've got another one, Niaozo's Protection, where Fortifying Brew grants you an Absorption Shield, or my favourite, Jade Sanctuary. You heal for 10% of your maximum health instantly when you receive Celestial Conduit, and receive 15% less damage for its duration. The effect lingers for an additional 8 seconds until after Celestial Conduit ends. On the middle, we've got Courage of the White Tiger, which is Xuen. Oh my god. Tiger Palm and Vivify have a chance to cause Xuen to claw a nearby enemy for damage, healing a nearby ally for 200% of the damage done. Invoke Yulon the Jade Serpent or invoke Chi-Ji the Red Crane guarantees that the next cast activates that effect. I quite like that. I like hero talents where they're getting really into the class fantasy, like, bringing out the Celestials in this aspect. Strength for the Black Ox, after Xuen assists you, so after that happens, if he's clawing people and healing people, your next Enveloping Mist's cast time is reduced to halve and causes Niaozo to grant an Absorb Shield to 5 nearby allies for 3% of your maximum health. That one I absolutely love. I love that passive Absorb Shield. Yulon's Knowledge, Refreshing Jade's Wind duration is increased, or gaining Refreshing Wind, Refreshing Jade Wind while Chi-Ji, the Red Crane, or Yulon active. Yulon, the Jade Serpent, is active. So you get that wind when they're active. I feel like I worded that really badly. Fight of the Red Crane, Refreshing Jade Wind, and Spinning Crane Kick have a chance to cause Chi-Ji to grant you a stack of Manatee and quickly rush to 5 allies, healing them. I love that one as well. I really do love Conduit of the Celestials, if you can't tell. And our last choice, Inner Compass, you switch between alignments after an August Celestial assists you, increasing your corresponding stat. So basically, Crane Stance Haste, Tiger Stance Crit, Ox Stance Verse, Serpent Stance Mastery. So after they're assisting you, depending on who's assisting you, you gain some extra stats. August Dynasty is the other option here. Casting Jadefire Stomp increases the damage or healing of your next Rising Sun Kick or Vivify. And lastly, Unity Within. Celestial Conduit can be recast once during its duration to call upon all of the August Celestials to assist you at 200% effectiveness, which is insane. Unity Within is automatically cast when Celestial Conduit ends if it wasn't used before expiration. And that is the Holy Grail, the piece de resistance. I love it. Unity Within is just fabulous for this. I love it. It's actually one of my favorite hero talents there is. Now, for the choice, etc., blah, blah, blah. Again, talent tree is in the description, so you can import it straight into your game. Now, finally, let's look at the consumables and enchants that we're going to be using. Few things have changed. One being that now from the weekly vault, we get Nerubian Gem Weavers. Optional, of course. These are to add sockets for your head, wrist, and belt from the weekly vault. And rather than in Dragonflight, where you could add 2 sockets to your, 3 sockets to your neck, we can now add 2 sockets to the neck and each ring with the magnificent jeweler's setting. On the cloak, we're going to go for Chant of Leeching Fangs. That's adding some leech. Intellect on the chest, leech on the wrist. Daybreak Spellthread, giving intellect and also stamina on your legs. Scout's March gives you more mobility with movement speed on your boots. And I like to add both haste on to my rings as a Mistweaver. Now, on the weapon, we're going to go with Authority of Fiery Resolve. Healing allies has a chance to call upon that authority, radiating a wave of soothing fire, healing you and your 4 closest allies, which is just really nice. And then looking at the consumables, is that the right one? Yes, that is the right one. Flask of Tempered Swiftness you can use for your file. Versatility is also a good option. Feast, obviously, primary stat on the food. Algari Mana Potion is going to be the best for a healer, as mana is generally the best way to go. Or you can go for a potion Bomb of Recovery, where you can launch a bomb onto your allies, increasing how much healing they take. If you're not having any mana issues, that may be the best one to use. Up to you. Healing Potion, I don't really use as much as a healer. I'd heal myself. Using Expel Harm. Algari Mana Oil, you can put on your weapon as well. Augment Runes, if you are using them, are now called Crystallized Augment Runes. And the sockets is going to be a Culminating Blasphemite. Basically, it adds primary stat, and then for each different coloured gem you have, it will give you more critical effect, meaning your crits are better. So I would advise to use a Deadly Emerald, a Quick Ruby, a Quick Onyx, and a Quick Sapphire. And then after that, use whatever the hell you like. But getting one of each of those gems is going to mean that your epic gem works a lot better for you. Thank you so much for watching this guide. I hope it was really useful for you in The War Within Season 1, whether it was for Mythic Plus or raiding. If you do have any questions, I'll be happy to help. My Patreon is in the description below, and that is where you can find my LVUI profiles, which I'll show you in a second. And also, I'm putting together a huge macro list for every single spec that's going to be really useful for you in The War Within as well. I am doing all classes and specs for The War Within, so if you are new to the channel, then please do click this playlist here to check out what else I have, which is all of them. There will also be PvP guides on this channel as well for War Within Season 1, so make sure to look out for that. This here is the UI that I was referring to. As you can see, we've got target frames, etc., left and right, and raid frames go in the middle here, and then weak auras in the middle with an action bar down here. Chat is behind where my camera is. Minimap and details, etc., are here on the right. All of the plater profiles, the voodoo, the LVUI, etc., details profile has all been made by me. And again, you can get this on my Patreon should you like it.